Well, let me tell you what happened just recently. So, a few years ago, I had originally interviewed Polo G when he first started coming out. It was one of his first interviews, and it was probably his first big interview. And I remember he was on Twitter calling me the police and the cops or whatever else. So we were at a bank in our area, and we ran into each other at the bank. So I think he was with his little brother, Trench Baby. So when we saw each other, I said, hey, can we go outside and talk real quick? So we went outside, we had a conversation. It was a respectful conversation. We exchanged numbers. He told me his point of view. I know my thing was like, if you had a problem with me, I always showed you love. So if you had a problem with me, why not just reach out to me directly as opposed to publicly trashing me like this? So he's like, no, I get your point. But he made a couple points about some stuff I do. And I'm like, okay, I get your point also. So when all of this crazy stuff started coming out about him, about his gun charge and his mom is shooting at, her daughter, and then his brother gets arrested and so forth, I did an interview on DJ Akademiks show, and I talked about, how we ran into each other at the bank, and I'm like, I just don't think that I think Polo thinks he's above the law right now, and like all this stuff is not going to catch up to him, and he's in a good position. So he hit me, and he was like, yo, I want to talk to you. I said, all right, cool. Gave him my number. He FaceTimed me, and he starts getting loud with me over FaceTime. And I'm like, look, you're either going to speak to me respectfully, I'm going to hang up on you. And he continued to get loud, so I hung up on him. So for the next 2 days, we're basically texting each other back and forth. And his first thing was like, yo, you need to meet up with me. I'm in LA. Where are you at? Let's meet up. And I'm like, are you crazy right now? Do you really think I'm going to meet up with you?
It's crazy.
You have a gun charge. Your brother was accused of killing somebody. Your mom is shooting at your sister. If I were to meet up with you, I'd have to bring a gun with me. And then what? I have to risk killing you because I might feel my life is, threatened during, you're already bad. Like, how does this make any sense whatsoever? And so we're going back and forth, and, and he was like, oh, you a little girl, someone yelling at you, go hang up. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to I respect myself. I'm a grown man. I'm not going to tolerate someone yelling at me. You're going to either speak respectfully to me or we're not going to speak. That's how it works. I'm literally twice your age. And I'm like, yo, you are going in a direction that I've seen over and over again. Like I said earlier, I'm like, these are the 19 people who died who are all around your age. He's like, man, I don't take no advice from you. You're not an OG. You don't come from where I come from. You don't know what you're talking about. I said, okay, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, Blood, stop texting me. And I'm like, Blood? Here's a tweet from 2020 where you're saying GDK on Twitter. So you're a gangster disciple killer here. And now you're a Blood now. And you're a rapper. You're a poet. You shouldn't want to be any of this. But your whole family.
You're right, Vlad. They shouldn't want to be any of it, man. Once you make it to a certain level, man, like, you got to be crazy, man. And then, like, you called it, Vlad. You called it. Look at his brother. His brother Robin, cameraman. You using your brother's name to rob people and all that, like, that's crazy, man.
Yeah. The guy he robbed was a guy named Annoying TV. He robbed him and then made him PayPal $50,000. Who does this? Who shoots at her daughter and then sends out the video to people?
Yeah,
and then the video gets posted
crazy,
on the internet.
Man, that the mama would do that as if the kids, like, I thought I'm like, do she know she can go to jail for that? Like, that's right. Evidence. That's evidence. And her daughter probably could sue her now. You try to kill her, Silver. Yeah, that was crazy, man.
All right, and he got his own gun charge, leaving a loaded gun in Manhattan. The maid found it. You're not supposed to have a gun in Manhattan.
Why
you probably don't have a carry permit in L.A. Yeah.
Why does Polo G even have a gun? Like, you Polo G, man.
It's Polo G. Like, you're known for the Gina and Martin song. People like you for doing that type of music. They don't look at you as a GDK guy. They don't. You've made a way, and you're a multi-platinum rapper doing fun, happy music that people fuck with. I don't know why you're trying to prove all this type of stuff, getting into beef with people like me that is really just going to talk about the beef. And he's like, yeah, you better not talk about me again. I'm going to run into we're going to run into each other. I'm like, run into each other, we run into each other. Last time we ran into each other, I approached you. I'm not worried about running into you. If we run into each other, then so be it. Whatever happens, whatever happens. I'm not trying to be a tough guy. If you want to go and crash out over someone really not even bashing you,
right,
just speaking about you, that honestly cares about you. Really, I don't want to see this happen to him. I don't want to see him go to prison. But clearly, his whole family is somehow unhinged from reality and thinking that rules don't apply and there's no repercussions to their actions because he's got a bunch of money. But that's not always going to work. Because he was found with a loaded gun, and then last August he was arrested twice in 24 hours on kidnapping, robbery, and assault. And he talked about relapsing on drugs and liquor a week later, and it's just like, man, he's in such a lucky position to be in.
Lucky.
There are so many rappers that are just as good as him or even better that can't drop a song and get 1 million streams like he can.
You see how Doug
for whatever reason.
Doug been working forever, man. He ain't go. Polo G went faster than all them. So, that's a blessing, man.